Title 8, Crimes Against the Sovereignty. Chapter 73, Crimes Against the Sovereignty. Section 847. Subdivisions of Crimes Against Sovereignty. Crimes against sovereignty are subdivided as follows. 1. Treason. 2. Misprision of treason. 3. Sedition. Section 848. Treason. Treason is the highest crime known to the law. It consists, as heretofore stated, in a criminal renunciation of one's allegiance to the sovereign power. This renunciation may consist in levying war against one's country, or in aiding or adhering to her enemies. Section 849. Allegiance. 2 grades. The term allegiance is applicable both to citizens and to alien friends. That due from the former, however, is more pronounced than that due from the latter. Allegiance is of 2 kinds, that due from citizens, and that due from aliens resident within the United States. Every sojourner who enjoys our protection is bound to good faith toward our government, and although an alien, he may be guilty of treason by cooperation either with rebels or foreign enemies. The allegiance of aliens is local, and terminates when they leave our country. That of citizens is not so limited. Section 850. Levying war. Requisites. Levying war includes 2 things. The offender must entertain a warlike intent, and he must perform an overt act which pertains to warlike operations. A mere conspiring to levy war is not a sufficient overt act to constitute treason. There must be an act of war. But, at common law, a mere conspiring to compass the death or deposition of the sovereign is a sufficient act to constitute treason. Section 851. Adhering to enemies. Giving them aid and comfort. Requisites. To constitute an adherence to the enemies of one's country there must be, on the part of the offender, an overt act, but written words may be sufficient. Thus, an intercepted document intended for an enemy may be adequate. Chief Justice Marshall says, if war be actually levied, that is, if a body of men be actually assembled, for the purpose of effecting by force a treasonable purpose, all those who perform any part, however minute, or however remote from the scene of action, and who are actually leagued in the general conspiracy, are to be considered as traitors. What amounts to adhering to and giving aid and comfort to our enemies, it is somewhat difficult in all cases to define, but certain it is that furnishing them with arms, or munitions of war, vessels, or other means of transportation, or any materials which will aid the traitors in carrying out their traitorous purposes, with the knowledge that they are intended for such purposes, or inciting and encouraging others to engage in or aid the traitors in any way, does come within the provisions of the Act. And it is immaterial whether such acts are induced by sympathy with the rebellion, hostility to the government, or a desire for gain. Section 852. Misprision of treason. Misprision of treason consists in possessing knowledge that treason has been committed and not making it known. In other words, it is the concealment of treason by being merely passive. It is the duty of every good citizen, who possesses knowledge that a treason has been committed, to inform a magistrate. The same duty exists where one has knowledge that a felony has been committed. Where a person stands by and sees a felony committed, and conceals it, he is guilty of a misprision. Section 853. Sedition. Sedition consists in verbal or written statements which tend to excite the public against the sovereign. In this country sedition is not recognized as a crime. Section 854. Cancellation of certificate of naturalization. A certificate of naturalization issued to an alien may, under the Naturalization Act, under certain circumstances, be cancelled. In such proceeding, where the good faith of the respondent is highly questionable as to any of the essentials, the burden is upon him to dispel the doubt. Where a state circuit court issued a certificate to an alien, after war had been declared by the United States against the government of which he was a subject, the federal district court has jurisdiction to cancel the certificate.